How to interview suspects and witnesses. Confessions. Too much emphasis on confessions has two major problems. Innocent people sometimes confess to crimes they didn't commit, and guilty people might confess but change their minds later. One way is to use modern tools like DNA to see if the criminal's biological traces, like hair, sperm, etc., match the confession. In over 100 cases, the DNA of the person in prison did not match the crime sample. Psychologist Richard Gudjonson argues that police interview techniques have been shown to lead to false confessions that are forced. He says most police officers think it's very likely that the suspect is the person who did the crime unless they are trained to think otherwise. He says the psychological explanation is more complicated and may involve the confessor's special vulnerability. When police interview suspects, they use a two-stage process to decide if they are telling the truth or lying. In stage 2, often called interrogation, they pressure suspects to admit they did it. Psychopaths, terrorists, spies, and repeat offenders might give in to psychological pressure, but others who do not may not. It is a questionable moral and ethical practice from an ethical point of view, as well as a legal one. British courts do not want police officers to lie to suspects, but the Supreme Court has approved this kind of lying in the United States. In some countries, police think they can tell which suspects are lying or guilty, so they only use these methods on guilty people who won't lie. The next chapter will talk about how to find out if someone is lying, and it will show that such beliefs are often wrong. The 1984 Act made it so that police rarely used inappropriate psychological tactics, but it didn't give them any other options. Most suspects who confessed did so early in the interview before the interviewer's skills were shown. The research found that the police interviewers didn't know what to do when the evidence against them was weak and the suspects didn't confess. The police service did the right thing by examining the research results and made a national training interviewing initiative. A new national initiative has found that listening, being prepared, asking questions, and keeping an open mind are the most important skills for police interviewers. But even in interviews with suspects, these skills were not used very often. Good interviewing skills include using appropriate tactics, using closed questions in the right way, and having good communication skills. But even in bad interviews, good interviewing skills were present, such as not putting too much pressure on the person being interviewed. Empathy and compassion arose when experienced interviewers asked what factors were most important. It answers the question, why should guilty suspects tell the police what they did?